Hi! Ever wondered how some people seem to be able to attract jobs and exciting work opportunities without seeming to make any effort? That is the power of personal branding. And we will be talking about this over the next 2 hours, coming right up.
Good morning, everyone. Now, doing a sound check now. Can everybody hear me? If you can hear me, please type yes into the chat box so you can hear me. Excellent. Thank you, Maylin. Thank you, Gary. Excellent. Good morning. Today it is 9:30 on a bright Wednesday morning. I hope everyone is bright and cheerful today. Yeah. Well, basically, my name is Yuan. I'm a practicing career coach, and I'll be your facilitator for the next couple of hours or so. Right now, who am I? What am I? Okay, apart from the blur that you saw me doing just now, basically, I've been doing this job as a career coach since 2015. I'm in my own practice, and most people actually come to me when they are feeling stuck in their careers or they are basically wanting a change in their directions into the things that they want to do. All right, and I do this through workshops like this, as well as individual coaching sessions. In fact, this month, August, this is the second WSG workshop that I've done so far. The last one was in last week, actually, almost exactly a week ago. And for those of you who are coming back and who've attended that one, welcome back. Okay. Now, the other thing that I'm really excited about is also the fact that I help other people do the same thing that I do. In other words, I train other people to become career coaches as well. And I see a couple of names here, which is actually quite familiar, maybe who have attended my courses. So for those, the couple of you who have attended my course, welcome. And hopefully, get some tips and tricks, but at the same time, you also help me learn what mistakes I've done as well. Okay. Now, this topic of personal branding, it is actually a very sought after and common topic that I've been asked to do for WSG. The other two were actually the hidden job market, which I did last week, as well as career switching. Now, first things first, I got to put my cards on the table and say I am not a personal branding guru. Okay, so for those of you who are coming here and expecting all sorts of highbrow stuff regards to personal branding, I'm afraid I might disappoint you. Where I'm coming from is really based on my own practical experiences over the course of my own career and how I've used those experiences to help my own clients and how effective it was for them. So I'm going to share that knowledge with you. Is that all right? Okay, so we're going to do that for the next couple of hours. Now, so before we begin, I just want to get the juices flowing, right, in terms of this topic, personal branding, just to get your thinking. It's 9:30 in the morning, some of you may still be, oh, I just stumbled out of bed, so this is what I want to do. Okay, so first things first, right? When I'm going to flash up to you a few categories, I want you to tell me in the chat box, what are the brands or what are the products you first think of when you see this, okay? So the first one is luxury cars. Luxury cars. What are the brands that you think of when you think about luxury cars? Can you type it in the chat box? What are the luxury car brands that you can think of? Okay, Bentley, BMW, Mercedes-Benz, what, Porsche, Mercedes, Rolls-Royce. Okay, Rolls-Royce still there. Okay, Ferrari. Excellent. So we have already got a brand in mind, right? Okay, so these represent to you luxury brand, luxury cars. Very good. So now, next thing here is this. Luxury hotels and resorts. What are some of the luxury hotel and resorts that you can think of that you would like to go and stay? Any luxury hotel and resort? So you've got Westin, Banyan Tree, thank you. Capella, Sofitel, Hyatt, W, Four Seasons. Yeah, see, we also got another impression of what luxury brands, what luxury hotels that we want to go to, right? Okay, now there is always a reason for this, all right? And planes, airlines, all right? When you go on a holiday, what is the ideal airline you want to fly with? I can guess what the thing is going to be. Most of you will probably say, right, SQ, SIA. Well done, Singapore. Majula, we just finished our National Day. Qatar Airlines is also very good. Okay, good. So these are, when we talk about this, people, some of the brands already come to mind, right? When you think about this person, I'm going to flash you a couple of personalities. right? What is the impression you get from looking at these people? Okay, can you recognize this person? Do you know who he is? Hazard a guess. You type in the chat box. Who do you think that person is? Joseph said, unfortunately, yes. Okay, so spoiled child. All right, very good. So I guess you know who he is, right? This is the president of North Korea. Okay, let me ask you this. If he wasn't the president of North Korea, what would be a good alternative career for him instead of the president of North Korea? What do you think would be another career that he could would fit him? Can anybody type into the chat box? Some people say fashion. Oh, a teacher, comedian. All right, very good. I always laugh at all these comments. But okay, so essentially the reason why you put a crazy company president, okay, I can think of a few actually, to be honest. Now, all of you have said this because you already have an impression of him. Correct now? All right. So this next person, okay, do you know who he is or not? Do you know who he is? The Rock, all right? Former wrestler, now mega movie star. Okay, so now let's think about this. No, there's been a lot of rumors about him over the last few years that he might run for this. So what do you think? Would he make an ideal presidential candidate? What do you guys think? Will he make an ideal presidential candidate? You type into the chat box, either yes or no, or you don't know. Yeah, well, some say 50-50, or there's a joke, they say yes. Well, we've had presidents before, and if, yeah, right, if Trump can be a president, why not him, right? Okay, so a lot of say no. Okay, so there is already an impression of this person, whether he's suitable for something or not, right? So, but then I think it's safe to say that all of us in this audience here don't know him, right? Don't know these people. Correct. Right? We don't know them personally, but we already form an impression, we form an opinion of what this person can or cannot do. Right? So really, at the end of the day, we all already have a personal brand. All right. As like Jeff Bezos says, your brand is what people say about you when you are not in the room. Right? Just think about this. What do people say about you when you are not around? That is your personal brand. Okay, so if we don't take charge of this, then other people will create it for us. Correct or not? Right? So at the end of the day of today's, I hope you will understand this notion that whatever we do, our brand, we need to make it intentional. We cannot leave it to chance that other people will form it for us. That is the whole gist of today's workshop. All right, so that is the whole gist of today's workshop, that we have to be intentional in the way we want other people to think about us. Okay, now the next question I want to ask you all today is this: how can personal branding help you? All right, now all of us are different. Okay, all of us have different goals, different objectives, and all that. So really, at the end of the day, personal branding, how personal branding helps, it really depends on what you want to achieve. Correct. All right. So now the first things first, if any of you are an entrepreneur or a business owner, how can personal branding help you? Can you type into the chat box? How can personal branding help you if you are a business owner or an entrepreneur? Can you type in the chat box and tell me? How can personal branding help you? All right. Advertise your business, establish your profile, right? So basically put you up on the map, right? Bring in new business, right? Talk about your own company and all, right? What is good for you? Raise funding. You're right, Xian. Okay? That will raise your profile so that when you ask for funds, right, you can it's easy for you to do so. Very good. So this is related, right? At the end of the day, if you want to be famous, you want to say, oh, I want to be a guru. I want to know, I want everybody to know that I'm a real expert in this. So personal branding will help you establish this. All right. Now, the last one is this. For many of us, we are in the midst of our career, or if you want to look for a new job, okay, how can personal branding help us if you want to look for a new job? Can you all type into the chat box? How can personal branding help us if we are looking for a new job or a new career? Any thoughts? How can personal branding help us? Okay, visibility, Gary says, networking, Maylin. So what do these achieve? When visibility and networking, Okay, references is because of something. Stand out from the crowd. You catch the eye of the potential employers. Very good, attract the right employers. So essentially, I think a lot of you have got it hit it on a nail. You want to attract opportunities. Attract opportunities. Okay, so that is the gist of today's workshop. That is the focus here that I'm trying to elevate. Is basically how personal branding will help job seekers attract opportunities. Okay, so that is the focus for today. All right. Now, why is it important? Why is this personal branding for job seekers important in trying to attract opportunities? Well, essentially, if you look at it, if you are making a career switch, okay, it is very important because when you're making a career switch, you don't have the right experiences. And therefore, if you go and apply cold call to any job advertised, you are unlikely to get called up. But however, if you go out and establish your brand and people see that, oh, this person, Gary, is very good at this, and therefore I think if there's an opportunity, I'm gonna call up, then you can switch. So likewise, if you're looking for jobs that are not advertised, right, like what I discussed last week, okay, personal branding will really help you get those opportunities. Okay, so what's going to be the takeaway for today? Right, so basically three points that I want to emphasize for everyone. How to best leverage your personal brand to your strengths and your objectives. Okay, identify who can help you and what you can say. Right, and practice best techniques to continuously develop your brand. Okay, so hopefully by the end of this next couple of hours, this is what you will take away from today's workshop. Okay, so a lot of things to discuss. Now, normally I do this, I think I've done this on a full day workshop as well. Okay, so I'm going to truncate whatever I can into these next couple of hours in trying to deliver those takeaways for you. Right now, some again further logistics here. Given there is only 2 hours or so, right? So I'm in terms of breaks, I can't give you a lot, but I'm going to try and give you one halfway mark break. So probably around 10:30, 10:45 thereabouts there. Okay, so that will be probably about a 10-minute break. Right, then maybe in between, if I see spirits are lagging, okay, then I'll give you maybe a short 5-minute break just to refresh yourselves and such. Okay, now you notice that you are muted and I've not given you the permission to unmute yourself yet, right? Because right now I think we have about 60 participants in the audience here. I've been told that we have about 100 people registered for this. Now, normally when you have a lot of people on the call, some people may accidentally switch on their mic and this would disrupt the proceedings, like what happened last week actually. So I'm putting a security feature here that everybody cannot unmute. Right, but however, if you want to ask questions, by all means type it into the chat box, but help me scan the questions very quickly, put a capital letter Q in front so that I know there is a question. Otherwise, I'll treat it as a remark. Okay, and questions I will be addressing at the end of each of the section that you see down here. Okay, at the end of each section, I'll address those questions. Now, there's a very good reason for this. As you know, this session is recorded. Okay, now at the end of today's workshop, I'm going to give you a way to get the recording of this session. Okay, now in that recording, I'm going to cut out all the Q&As for privacy purposes or privacy reasons. Right, so that's why if I put all the Q&A questions at the end, it's easy for me to edit out. Right, so whatever recording you have will exclude those personal questions. But it's also to encourage you to stay on. Otherwise, if everybody thinks that, oh, I'm going to get a recording, so I don't need to stay on for the whole thing, then okay, if you don't stay on there, at least, you can see the gist of the content, but you won't get the Q&A, which a lot of times is actually the Q&As that makes the session more interesting. All right, I hope you all agree on that. So, okay, so if you are okay with this procedure, this process, can you type into the chat box and say, yes, okay, we're going, or if you've got concerns, please do let me know as well. All right, okay, thank you so much. All right, good. All right, so let's start. After the preamble, let's start. So let's talk about how we define personal branding first. How we define personal branding. Okay, so before we do that, I really need to highlight the job search process. And there's a very good reason for this, because I think at the end of the day, when we are trying to look at personal branding for us as a job seeker, we need to then see where it stands in the whole job search process, right? I hope you agree on that. Huh? So essentially, if you look at it, the job search process can be divided into 4 broad categories. Okay, so the first category is knowing yourself, then knowing the world of work. Wow, is the world of work. Okay, then developing strategies, stage 3, and then connecting with employees, stage 4. Okay, now can you tell me, type into the chat box, what stage does personal branding come into play? Can you type into the chat box, what stage does personal branding come into play? Okay, some people say stage 1, stage 1. Anybody else? Know yourself, that's stage 1. 2 and 3, Joseph says 2 and 3. 1. Okay, any others? Lester, bao ka liao, everything, say all. Okay, Melin also say all. Okay, maybe the confusion here is this. If you look at it, strictly speaking, personal branding really comes into play in stage 3 and 4. Now, let me tell you why. Stage 3 and 4 essentially involves these activities where you go out to the market. You want to think how you differentiate yourself from other people, what are the things you need to upgrade, and then how you brand present yourself. And then the last part where you connecting with employers, that means you're going out to network, or you customize your applications, or you want to go and gain experience through internships where you are in contact with people, right? So that's where personal branding comes in. Now, some of you may think, oh, then what about the first 2 where you have to know yourself and all that? Those are important, but those contribute to the way you develop your personal brand. So you need to know all those things, and those are elements that to be inserted and will influence the way your personal branding is done. Okay, so I'm not saying that it's not involved, but I'm saying here is that it's a contributing element for the first 2, right? I hope you understand this. Huh? So now we've gotten this out of the way. We know where personal branding stands in terms of the way we use it and what stage of the job search process. Okay, let's talk about why we want to do personal branding. And this is probably where you stick out a piece of paper or a notebook or maybe on your computer and you start typing in these elements here. All right. So what is the job you want to go for? And maybe even as specific as industry, location, and all that. And then you also think about by when you want to do this. No point putting down ASAP. Okay, because ASAP is not a time frame. All right. I always tell people, especially my clients, I need a job ASAP. And then I look at them and say, but what does ASAP mean? All right. If you say tomorrow, then I have to frankly tell you, say tomorrow, then sorry, I cannot help you. All right. So we need to have a specific time frame that is reasonable, that is manageable, right, and can be achieved. Okay. So what job, what industry, what location? Location for some people may be important. Some of you, I remember recently I had a participant in the workshop who says that the job that she applied for was too far away from her home. It's towards the other end of the island. So she was very reluctant on that. So if that is important to you, then put it down. Okay. So those are the things here. So hopefully you've got this frame in your head. I mean, if you don't want to put it now, okay, you can do it after the session is over. But this is very important because this forms your beacon, your North Star, as far as this career search is concerned. It becomes your North Star. So you say, okay, whatever I do, I must go towards that North Star by when and such. Okay, it's the way you navigate. All right. So are we okay with this? All right. Okay. So once you have established your goal, what you're trying to achieve. Okay. Next, let's talk about how you position yourself. How you position yourself. And essentially, if you look at it, positioning is really about who you are, right? What you're good at, what's your reputation, and other people's perception of you, right? So that's really your positioning. I mean, I come back to this notion, what Jeff Bezos says, okay, is about what people say, is what people say about you when you're not in the room. Okay, now there are lots of ways to sort of look at what your positioning is, but I think we need to start from a base level, okay? And usually the fastest way in today's world, the fastest way to look at what people say about you is really asking our good friend Google. Okay, asking our good friend Google. Now, normally when I do this in class or when I have time, I will break you all up into groups, and then you all will Google each other and give each other's impression, right? But in this case, we don't have that luxury. So maybe as a homework, after this session, you can Google yourself and see what it says, what Google tells you, what you're good at, what you are known for, all right? But I want to do a very interesting exercise now. Okay, I hope there's no one here that the name Adrian Lim. Let me just scan and see whether there's anybody here that's called Adrian Lim or not. Okay, hopefully not, because this is an exercise that involves Googling this name. So can I ask all of you right now, okay, just for fun's sake, okay, go into Google and type in Adrian Lim Singapore. All right, can you do that? All right, type in Adrian Lim Singapore and see what flashes up. And maybe you type into the chat box what you see, right? You type in the chat box what you see when you type in that name in Google, right? Because when I did it just yesterday, I thought, wow, this is something very interesting. And actually, to be honest, previous workshops, there were also people whose name was Google, right? and the thing came up. Wow, you see, the comments here already started coming out. So basically, if you type in Adrian Lim Singapore, this is what you'll get. Okay, so so for those of you, and unfortunately for that person in that workshop, when his name was Adrian Lim, he typed this in, and wow, basically everybody was looking at him and said, what the hell is going on? Who is this person? So the thing here is this. The message what I'm trying to get at is this, right? When you type in your name on Google, right, whatever comes up, whether it's you or not, all right, you got to ask yourself, does that match with what you want people to know you as? All right, what you want people to know you as. Okay, so if it is not, then you got to do something about it. Okay, because essentially at the end of the day, if there is a gap between how you see yourself and how others see you, then you need to really address that gap. Okay, now personal branding really, if you look at it, essentially is the overlap between the two gaps. Okay, it's the overlap between the two gaps. So if there's a good overlap, that's great. Then you are on the right track already. So we want to try and bring the two elements together. Okay, now I'm going to show you a short video which I think is really how should I put it, funny, but at the same time illuminating, right? So you can take a look at this short video, and then by all means, if you want to put in comments into the chat box, by all means do so. All right, so take a look at this.
Venn diagrams are perfect for explaining my career path. I'm one of the few comics working in Venn diagrams. So the reason I became an engineer was because of two things. I was good at two things. I had math skills, and I was good at problem solving. And when you're good at those two things, no guidance counselor ever says you should be a comedian. They would be fired. So they said you should be an engineer, so I went and became an engineer. Makes perfect sense, right? Over here, if you got people skills, you're good with people, and you're good at problem solving, you're probably going to go into management, right? Makes perfect sense. Over here, if you got OCD, everything has to be exactly right. And you're good at math, you are an accountant is what you are. The accountants were high-fiving over there. I have never seen an accountant high-five. Yes, he got us right. That joke adds up perfectly. That is accountants, though. They can't solve any problems, but they can identify them. That's an accountant. An accountant will go, you got to fix this. Over here, if you're into drinking and you have people skills, you're in sales is what you are. Are you salespeople? That's always the loudest yell. Without fail, they are always the loudest. Over here, if you're heartless and you have OCD, you're in human resources. No heart whatsoever. And if you're heartless and into drinking, you're a lawyer.
Okay, hopefully I didn't offend any accountants, lawyers, and salespeople. Huh? Right? So this little video, although quite funny, but I think it illustrates a few things, right? So it's really about, what people see you based on your own skills and personality, right? At the end of the day, when you want to form your personal brand, all right, there are a lot of things that comes into play, right? Whether it's your image, your mission, your values, your vision, right? A lot of things come into play. And really, that is a really good and strong process to go through. Now, those of you who have gone to my workshops and who knows me, will tell you that I want to simplify things as much as possible. So if you have the time and the energy and you know how to conduct uh, uh, assessments to put together your image or mission and all that, that's fine, that's great. Okay. But if you want a simpler way of doing things, a simpler way of how other people see you and what is your personal brand, okay, maybe try this out. It's basically looking at how you help other people. How you help other people. Now, time and time again, I'm going to come back to this notion of how you help people. Okay, so those of you again who's been to my workshops will know that this is a very important part, a very fundamental approach that I have with all my clients and hopefully, with everybody who has attended my workshops before. Now, why do I say, this is so important to understand how you help other people? Essentially, if you look at it, employers are risk averse. Employers are risk averse. Now, you may ask the question, why are they risk averse? Well, whoever they hire, they want them to be able to help as quickly as possible, or they want them to have the right skills and experiences, correct? Now, to help solve the problems that they have. Okay, so in order for us to be effective, in order for us to be sought after, okay, so we have to be an asset, not a risk. An asset, not a risk. Okay, so then the question you ask, and then how can we be an asset? I link back to my previous statement. Okay, it's about how you see yourself as a problem solver, how you solve their problems. Okay, let this sink into you. Okay, the reason why the employers are by nature risk averse. Okay, so in order to minimize the perception of risk when they look at you, you have to communicate to them. You have to position yourself in front of them as someone who can solve their problem. Does that make sense? Does it make sense? Okay, think about it. So then the next question here is this. Then how do I identify or how do I position myself as a problem solver? Now, lots of ways to do it. I'm going to suggest to you a technique which I've used very successfully with other people, okay, my participants as well as my own clients, right? Essentially, is using this approach. Okay, now all of us know what skills, what experiences you have. So I'm not going to, I'm going to assume that you know what your skills and experiences are. All right, because if you don't, then that's a separate exercise altogether, which maybe we can do on a separate day. Right? But my skills and experiences. So once you have your skills and experiences listed out, then you have to think about how you use those skills and experiences to solve problems. What are the problems you solve? Okay, so I'm going to flash up a few examples. This one I showed it last week. This particular approach I showed it last week in the previous workshop. Okay, so I'm going to flash this up. So assuming you have this set of skills, you have extensive people management experience and a successful track record of building effective teams. Oh, by the way, all these statements were actually statements that was constructed by my own clients. Okay, I worked with them using the same template or same approach. Okay, so if you have extensive people management experience, can you tell me, type into the chat box, what are the problems you can solve if you have good people management experiences? Can you type into the chat box? What are the problems you can solve? Okay, so some says high staff turnover. Any others? Is there other ways? Low morale, negotiation, touch negotiation. Negotiation is probably the way you do things, the way you help. Escalation, not sure exactly what it means. Conflict, managing conflict, mentorship. Okay, mentorship is probably the way you help them. You motivate the team. Okay, motivate the team to do something. All right. So what is the problem? You mediate. Okay, very good. You mediate. That is the process you do. All right. Okay. So let me sort of again try to transpose some of those thoughts for us. Okay. This is one of the problems you can solve. Okay, I will solve your high staff turnover issue. Now, many of the comments that you made, whether it's to motivate, to mentor and all, that is how you help, right? So if you want to put another addition to this, then it is another column, which I'm going to share with you with the template later on, is how you help them. So how you help them solve high staff turnover issue by mentoring, by creating a team environment, by being a mediator. Those are how you help, the process that you help. But the problem that you solve is this, the high staff turnover issue. That could be one of the problems. Okay, so I need you to really be able to differentiate this, because if you can really separate the problems you solve with how you solve it, this notion of problems you solve, if you can be very clear about this, problems that you solve, you're able to actually easily identify companies with that same problem. Okay, once you know which companies have that same problem, then you can really pitch your own ideas to them and say, no, I can do this. I can help you with this, and this is how I do it. So really the critical part here, not only is because of your skills and experience, but really identifying what problems you can solve. Okay, so hopefully you all see the picture. Huh? So let's see another example here. Okay, so in my previous roles, I leveraged on non-traditional marketing strategies which had greater ROI and impactful results. Okay, so you are a good marketeer. So what is the problem you can solve if you are a good marketing person? Can you type into the chat box? What are the problems you can solve when you have a good marketing person on board? Can you all try? Type into the chat box. Being a good marketeer, what is the problem you can solve? Okay, increase brand awareness. Good. Increase sales eventually, right? Eventually. Okay, problem is poor market outreach. Yeah. So you want to gain market share. All right. Okay, so I think you're getting the gist of it already. So essentially, you can say, I will help you expand your brand presence internationally with a lower marketing budget. Okay, so that particular statement can actually combine two problems together, right? One is marketing budget, low marketing budget. The other one is limited international brand presence. All right. Okay, so last example. Okay, in my past roles, I moved the customer base to a higher level by recrafting outreach messages and targeting the right segments. So this is a mixture of maybe digital marketing and account management and all that. All right. So this is the skills and experience you have. So what is the problem you can solve with those skills and experience? Can you type into the chat box? What is a problem you can solve with that sort of skills? Okay, some people say gain market share again. Anything else? Open new market. I like this. Open new market, reducing customer complaints. Yep, fair enough. Low value segments. Yes, I like that. Low value segments. Increase gross margins. Very good. Increase gross margins. Right. So essentially, you could also say that, I will increase the quality of your customer base, leading to higher sustainable sales levels. Okay. So hope you see this. All right. So I want you to see this picture very clearly. Yeah. The differentiation between your skills and experience versus the problem you solve. Once you can understand what problems you solve, you take those problems and then go to the companies that you're looking at and say, do they have those problems? If they have those problems, then wow, you are in a position to pitch to them. Okay. So next portion here. How do you construct this? Okay, so this is a small little table which I put together. So if you want to draw up, write on a piece of paper now, these three columns, by all means do so, right? Because I think it's a very useful template for you to try it out. Okay, so on the left would be my skills. You can have more than one skill, right? So you can list down all your skills if you want to, right? But for purpose of your own, your own exercise, trying out for the first time here, you can do this, all right? So my skills, just list down one first. What are the problems I solve? Now, one skill can actually solve multiple problems also, right? As you can see from the people management side, okay? And then this is the last part, which wasn't shown in the previous slide, but which many of you have put down, how I solve the problem. How I solve the problem. Okay, so again, I'm going to flash some examples here for you. Okay, one example. So you have people and team management skills. We talked about that just now. Okay, what are some of the problems that I can solve, minimize or solve high staff turnover issue? Then, if the person listening to this is, wow, very interesting. I like what Mark has told me. Can you tell me more? How do you do this? Then Mark can come back and say, wow, this is how I do this. I build effective team environment. I focus on individual member strengths. I motivate them in the right direction. Okay, so this is the template that you can do to actually try and construct your own statements. Try and construct your own statements. All right. So you're going to take a screenshot of this. I'm going to give you maybe about 5 minutes to do this, right? Construct your own problem-solving statements using this template. If you want to share on in the chat box later on, by all means do so. All right, we can, if you want, I can fine-tune it for you, right? So I'm going to give you 5 minutes for this. And I think there was someone who asked me to flash the previous slide. So let me flash the previous slide first. Okay, so this is the previous slide. So if you want, you can take a screenshot of this as an example. Okay, so Jessica, hopefully you got this for you. All right. Once you take a screenshot of this, all right. All right, so 5, 4, 3. Okay, good. So now I'm going to give you 5 minutes. Okay, 5-minute break. You try this out. You try this out. And those of you who are interested in sharing this on the chat box, all right, and getting some feedback from me or from anybody else, by all means, you're welcome to do so. All right. So I see you guys in 5 minutes.
5 minutes later.
Okay, welcome back. I hope you all have a chance to actually try and do this particular problem or this particular template. Anybody got any issues or problems, or even you want to share a comment on with everybody else? Anything you want to ask? You type into the chat box if there's anything. Right. Okay, so I don't see anybody typing in, so I guess everybody's okay with this. All right, so hopefully you'll give it a try. Like I said, this is one skill that you may have, right? Or skills and experience, you can combine it together. But at the end of the day, it's really about how you can solve problems. Okay, Ken has asked me how to find what problems the company have. All right, this is the legwork you have to do. Okay, Ken, basically, and to everyone else, the problems that companies have, you have to do your research when you're digging into the company's background and such. Okay, we can talk about it in a little while, right? But essentially, you have to do the legwork, either talking to other people in your network, right? Or to do your own online research and find out, okay, what this problem have. What problems these companies have. Sorry, morning, I didn't have my coffee yet. I'm fumbling around this. Okay, so that is the thing that you have to do. But we're going to come back to this particular issue later on. Okay, Ken? So hold on to your horses for that. All right. Okay, so if there is no problem, so let us then emphasize this. When you are able to identify your problem-solving skills, this becomes your unique selling proposition, and this becomes part of your brand. Okay, so this will help you differentiate yourself from your so-called competitors out there who are probably going after the same job. Okay, so that's why I keep emphasizing to all my clients and to all the participants that come to my workshop, right? It is so important that you understand how you help people, right? How you solve their problem. So you have to identify what problems you can solve with your own experiences, with your own skills. All right. Okay. So hopefully this is sinking in for you. So we talk about positioning, right? We've talked about positioning, all these 4 elements you see there. All right. So now And at the end of the day, it's really about how to best leverage your personal brand to your own strengths and objectives. Your own strengths and objectives. So we've come to the end of the first section, which is the defining yourself bit. Okay, so no questions. Let's go on to the communication part. How do we communicate our personal branding? Okay, and really at the end of the day is really how we are going to attract opportunities, how to best attract opportunities. Okay, so how do we do this? By making our personal brand visible so that people can see, and then how we are seen as a problem solver. Remember, we keep coming back to this thing about problem solving, right? So you want to tell people how you can help solve problems or what problems you solve. So basically telling people who you are and also building relationships. So this is the gist of this section itself. All right. Okay. Now, I think it's 10:23 now. Since I gave you about a 5-minute break just now, maybe I just carry on first. Is that okay? I just carry on for maybe another half an hour or so, then I give you the break itself. Yeah. Okay. So in today's world, like it or not, right? Some of the massive changes we have undergone means that, you know, social media is one of the primary channels of how other people perceive us. Okay, and I'm sure all of us, all of you in this workshop have got presence in some way, in some form or another on some platform, social media platform. So like you see this guy, right? He's on at least 4 or 5 even here, all right, 4 here. And he presents himself so differently on those 4 channels. Okay, so you got LinkedIn where he's looking very professional. He's on Facebook where he's very sociable. He's on Instagram where he's very active. He shows people how active he is. And he's on Tinder where he shows that he's available and sexy. Although maybe, you know, that's a bit over the top, but you know, essentially that's the image he wants to portray, right? And there's Twitter as well. Okay, so really at the end of the day, you want to be very clear about how you use social media to present yourself. Okay, so I see a couple of communication specialists in today's workshop. So if any of these communication specialists want to chime in and give their thoughts on this as well, by all means do so. So but anyway, let's carry on. Okay, so let's come back to this whole notion of risk adversity by employers. Risk adversity by employers. So really, because employers are risk averse, they want to try and find out as much information about you as is possible. Okay, so like it or not, nearly all recruiters use LinkedIn. Okay, so LinkedIn is a very prominent channel, like it or not, but many also say, here it says over 40%, they also search on Twitter and Facebook about you. Right? Let that sink in. So you got to sink in and sort of think about this. Okay? Nearly all recruiters use LinkedIn and other forms of social media channels to find out information about you. Okay? Almost all hiring managers review a candidate's social profile before making contact. Let's think about this. Even if they're interested in you, they will want to search you up, or do some research on you on your social profiles before they even call you up. And why do they want to do this? Why do they want to do this? Think about this. Why are they so busybody? Why do they want to go and search about me on my social media platform? There is a reason for this. There's a reason for this. Essentially, apart from professional experience, okay, which they can find out from LinkedIn, for example, they're also looking and previous work experience and fit. I highlight this portion in magenta, I think it's called, or lilac, I don't know what the color for it. Mutual connections. Now, why is this mutual connection so important? I'm going to elaborate on this a little bit later on, but suffice to say, if you know someone that they know, chances are they will ask that person about you. Okay? So that's the ideal case for them. Now, lazy is just like how we search on profile for a coach or trainer before we pay for a course. Absolutely. Okay. Now, you may ask the big elephant question. I call it the elephant question. Okay. What if you don't have any significant social media platform, social media presence? What if, let's say you are now a recruiter. You are now a recruiter and you're trying to look for someone. Let's say you're trying to look for Dennis Lee. Okay. And then you go on internet, you can't find any mention about Dennis Lee or anything specific about Dennis. What is the impression you would have on that person? Can you type into the chat box? If you are a recruiter and you go onto social media and you try and find, you can't find any information about that person. What is your impression about that person? Okay, Floyd says he's hiding. Enigmatic is a positive way of looking at it. Okay, it's a ghost. Okay, you feel disappointed. That okay, very private person. You're right. Not tech savvy. Any others? I want to see whether any positive comments about a person who you can't find. Questionable. Busy with his work, maybe. Yeah, we could say that. Busy with his work. Right. Any other impressions you will get? Any positive impressions? Or is it all negative? Some are very neutral. What do you think? Any positive? Is it, if you can't find anybody online, does it give you any positive impression? Anything? Right? So if I look at the comments here, most of the time it's more or less negative. Okay, somebody says values privacy. Yeah, it could be value privacy. Maylin, keep things to yourself. Good candidate to do secretive work. You're right. You're right. I actually have a few friends who are working in those positions where they were told not to have any social media presence, but that's only after they join the company. All right. Now, but on the whole, if you think about it, it's about, at the end of the day, what's the impression you create for other people if they can't find any significant information about you? Okay. Is there something to hide? Okay. Okay, so LK says we can control who our social media is in terms of privacy, so public will not have access to personal info. Doesn't mean that the person is hiding. You're right. Privacy setting. Okay, you're right, and we all should look at our privacy setting and prevent people from looking at our personal information. Absolutely. But we also need to leave something out there to give people some snippets to sort of give them an idea of who we are, so that they know they have an impression of us, a positive impression of us. Okay, because at the end of the day, if we don't give them that little peanut for them to chew on, they're just going to speculate. They're just going to speculate and think, oh, this person doesn't have a good or significant presence in the internet. Something is wrong. Something like he's got something to hide. Like somebody says he's not tech savvy or he's not sociable, right? He's reclusive. Okay, he's not up to date. Okay, not up to date. He's a mystery. Now, if you are after a job that is wanting somebody with these qualities, then by all means. But most of the time in the normal jobs, when a recruiter and potential employer looks you up, okay, they want to have some impression of you. If they can't find some impression of you, right, then chances are they will go and speculate what these are. And these are what you see on the left-hand side are some of the possible impressions they may have of you. Right. So I come back to the comment from LK, right? We need to set our privacy settings so nobody can see our private information. That absolutely. But in order to help us manage external perceptions of us, then maybe we should leave something out there so that their perception of us cannot be left to chance. It's not negative. That's the message I'm getting. Okay, so I'm not saying you have to be all out there, but neither am I saying you should cut yourself off. Okay, so that's the message. So enough of this painting a negative scenario or painting a doomsday scenario if you don't have a privacy setting. So let's look at one particular platform which, like I mentioned earlier, almost every recruiter use when they are looking for potential candidates, right? So I'm just going to focus on LinkedIn, although, I'm sure there are other channels relevant, especially in certain industries that are youth-oriented. Maybe LinkedIn is not the right one. Maybe they go for Twitter, Insta, or whatever. Okay, that's why those channels are very, very, and especially for you, if you want to be an influencer, Okay, the young people want to be influencer. LinkedIn may not be the primary channel for you. Influencers are what? The Instas, Insta, the Twitters, and whatever other platform there is out there. Okay. But for most of us, whether when we are in a looking for a normal corporate job or whatever, a company, all right, I want to focus on this because it gives you the best bang for buck. Okay, so LinkedIn. So how am I going to discuss LinkedIn? This is not a LinkedIn workshop, by the way. This is basically giving you an overview. There's a lot of information out there about what LinkedIn can do. So I urge you all to go into that if you really want to know more, right? By the end of the day, I'm going to break this discussion into 4 portions. Number 1, how you establish who you are, okay? What you're good at, what you want to do, and how you build relationships from there. Okay, so these 4 segments that I'm going to talk about. All right. So now I notice a lot of people when I go into their LinkedIn profile, the public profile that they show to everyone. Many people tend to duplicate their resume into the LinkedIn, right, in past your profile. I'm not saying it's wrong, but there are different ways of looking at this. Right? Maybe if you are only just putting your resume in there, maybe you're missing out a lot of features of the LinkedIn, which I'm going to elaborate in the next few slides. Right? So I want to differentiate between a profile, a LinkedIn profile versus just a standard resume. Okay, as we all know, resumes needs to be customized for every single application. Every company that we apply to, all right, your resume has to be customized to fit the job that they've advertised or to fit the opening that they want to fill. All right. However, a profile on LinkedIn, right, you are not able to customize for every single viewer that comes to your LinkedIn profile, correct? Right? Which means what? Because everybody sees that same description of you, that same all the writing, right? So you have, okay, so let's go down the list of the profile first. So it's for all employers or anybody who comes to your profile. Okay, you can have a lot more detail than just a resume. Resume at the most you have how many pages? Think about it. Resume, normally now people are looking at maybe 2 pages maximum. Okay, in the LinkedIn profile you have the ability to put in a lot more detail. Now, the other strong thing about LinkedIn is that you have the ability to get other people to endorse and recommend you. Okay, so that's a very powerful tool which you should not overlook. LinkedIn, the profile allows you to connect with other people, and it also allows you to share knowledge, what you know. Okay, so what's the implication of setting up a group profile in LinkedIn? You have to decide pretty early on what you want to be known for. What you want to be known for. Okay. This is an opportunity then to really establish a brand for yourself on that particular platform, right? You can build relationships because LinkedIn has a very positive way of actually allowing you to connect up with other people. And you have the opportunity to build and reinforce your expertise, your skills, your strengths, which I'm going to talk about in a little while. Okay. All right. So I'll tell you what, now it's 10:36. Okay. Let's take a 10-minute break, all right? And then we come back and I'm going to go into a little bit more detail about how to do LinkedIn. Okay, so 10 minutes and then I see you guys. And then if you guys got any other questions about whether it's this particular section or the previous section, by all means, think about it and then type in the chat box. I can deal with that when I come back. All right, I see you guys in 10 minutes.
A few moments later.
I'm going to use my own example because the last time I used somebody else as an example, it just so happened that somebody in the audience knew that person. So I want to avoid that trap. So I'm going to use my own example here just to illustrate a few points. Okay. So now I'm not saying that mine is the perfect example. It's just that what I'm trying to convey to other people on my LinkedIn profile. Okay. So here you see a few things. Number one, on the orange box you see here, right? There is my LinkedIn URL, which you can customize this. So this is one way to sort of make people see your profile clearer. But the other thing here is this about section that you see on the bottom here. Okay, this is a very important piece of real estate on LinkedIn Because this is the part where you are able to tell people about what motivates you, what drives you, why you do what you do. Okay, so don't just duplicate what you have on your resume, right? This is an opportunity for you to put down other aspects that reinforces your personal brand. So if those of you who are already connected up with me, you can go in and you can take a look. Actually, what I put down there is basically my problem-solving statements, how I help other people. Okay, and those problem-solving statements are basically in an area where I want to be known for, right? In this case, it's about being a coach and instructor, facilitator. Okay, so once I've decided on that, I focus on that, because even though my previous careers have got different areas, this is what I focused on. All right, so that's the first part. Now, there's no hard and fast way of writing this about section. Everybody has a different style, so you have your own style. By all means, put it there. Okay, you can also tweak it anytime you like. So the next one here is really when you put down your career experiences, right? For those of you who have got a very long list of jobs and careers, great. I urge you to take a look at what parts are relevant to the next step that you want to go for. So you put in the relevant parts for yourself, okay? And then use those career histories to actually put down the relevant accomplishments that you have in order to reinforce your brand, the direction that you want to go for, okay? Building recommendations, very, very important, right? So you ask people who know you well to write about you, okay? And essentially, you try to get them to illustrate problem-solving skills that you have, how you helped them. Okay, that would be the ideal way. So really, you're targeting, and you know, the magic question here, people always ask me, but how do I get people to write about me? You know, really the easiest way is to reach out to people who already know you. So it's either your current or former employers, your colleagues, your friends, your clients, your customers, people who know who you are. So if people know you, then it's not much of an effort to actually ask them to write something about you. Okay. You don't want to ask people who don't know you to write something about you, right? Okay, so that is the trick here. So recommendations, right? The other one which I feel many should leverage on in this platform, which is very unique as compared to many other platforms, is the ability for you to share your expertise, share your knowledge. Okay, you can either write articles, right, or you can contribute articles that you've seen in other places. And by doing that, it helps build other people's perception about you. You have credibility, right? And then it tells other people either what you're interested in, you're passionate about, and what you are good at. Okay, so do that. Now this one maybe is not essential, but it's really nice to have. Okay, what do you want to do? You tell people what you want to do by joining groups that are relevant, joining groups or following companies that are relevant to your industry, the next industry you want to go for. Okay, and this is very maybe it's not a well-known fact, but LinkedIn has an algorithm where if you do this, all right, you will actually appear quite high on the search list if there is someone coming to look for someone who's either interested in the pharmacist, FMCG or pharmacy, and then if they see that you have, if LinkedIn, the algorithm sees that you are following all these companies and these discussion groups, then when somebody search for that, chances are your name will be pretty high on the list, in the search list. Okay, this is nice to have. This is really nice to have. Now, there's this little thing on LinkedIn where it says you're open to doing something. Either you're open to new opportunities or whatever. So I want you to go in and basically click on the thing that see down there and basically choose the option that suits you best. Okay, as far as your next career is concerned. Okay, so those are the interests, those are the telling people who you are, what you want to do. All right. Hopefully that's okay with you. Like I said, this is not a workshop on LinkedIn, but it's just some overview as well. There's lots of information online about how you actually click onto that. So by all means, go into that. We don't have a lot of time. Okay, building relationships. Now, why is this important? Why is this important? Studies have shown right? 50% of hires come from personal connection. Okay. And it just so happens that LinkedIn members are 3 times more likely to get hired when they are referred by someone else from LinkedIn. Okay. So whether you believe it or not, but the stats are out there. Okay. So, you know, and it's a very useful platform for you to get to know more people out in the marketplace. All right. So we are talking about networking. We're talking about networking here. All right. Now, we all know this. We all know that networking is a #1 way to find a job. Right? Everybody says this. But there's always a big but, right? Many people don't like to do networking. Those of you who don't like to do networking, can you type into the chat box why you feel you don't like to do networking? Can you just type into the chat box why you think people don't like to do networking, or you yourself don't like to do networking? Any ideas why you don't like to do networking? Okay, maybe it's not your character, you're shy, very fake. Yeah, definitely very fake. Any other potential reasons? You're an introvert. Okay, introvert has got a couple of hits there. It depends on your personality. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. So really, at the end of the at the end of the day, right? You know, networking is sometimes seen as pressurizing. Okay, you going out to meet people, whether you're introvert or whether you don't like to your personality or whatever. No, it's very pressurizing on you. But at the same time, if believe it or not, the other party may also feel pressured. Okay. And many people say that, no, if you purposely go out and want to meet people, sometimes you come across as not very authentic. Not very authentic. Correct enough. So I'm going to suggest a way for you to get around those fears, those concerns. Okay. Instead of focusing on the word networking, which many people think is a 4-letter word, although it's more letters, but it's 4. You get my meaning. Why not focus on building relationships? So focus on the word relationships rather than the word networking. Okay, so relationships maybe gives you a different feel, different way of looking at things. Now, this I always show this during this section itself. So meeting people, you can do it online and offline. There is the red box and there's the yellow box. Those are the objectives of meeting the people. Can you all type into the chat box which color box, is it red or yellow, do you feel that should be your immediate priority when you're meeting someone new? Is it the red or the yellow box when you're meeting someone for the first time? So yellow, yellow. Okay, let me just put it to the right side. Okay, so many people say yellow. Yep, good, excellent, very good. So you're right. Okay, meeting someone for the first time, when you're building relationships, you need to focus on the things in the yellow box. Once you get the yellow box established, they become your supporter, they give you information, they connect you with other people, they refer you to opportunities. Then the red box comes in. The red box comes in. Okay, so here you want to focus on the yellow box. Okay, so bear this in mind. Building relationship, focus on yellow. So this relieves a lot of pressure on you. Now, at the end of the day, you got to remember when you're meeting someone new for the first time, it is not about you. It's not about you. It is about what? Then what is it about? It is about how you help them. Right? It is not about you, it's about how you help them. Okay, when you meet someone new for the first time. So those of you who are talkers, right? Hold back. Don't talk so much about yourself. Get the other party to talk. This is where introverts become more powerful in that sense. Because introverts want other people to talk, right? So this is about how you help them. So building relationships, there are some no-nos involved, right? Especially on LinkedIn. Especially on LinkedIn. Okay. One of the things I always tell people, please don't use LinkedIn as a dating site. Okay, nowadays I see a lot of people. Actually, I get I don't know about you, but I get unsolicited private mails coming from people who got very attractive photos, but whose LinkedIn profile is very limited. And I always get very cautious about such things. All right, so please don't use LinkedIn as a dating site. There are other sites for that if you are into that. Okay. When you are connecting up with someone, don't use a standard LinkedIn statement. Personalize it, right? Either you met that person or you feel that that person is in the industry that's very interesting to you. You want to expand your network with him, by all means, okay? Don't use a standard LinkedIn statement. So those of you who want to connect up with me later on, all right, please write and customize your invitation, connection invitation, all right? If I see a standard one, sorry, I'm gonna not use it, right? Because then it shows to me that you didn't learn from what we talked about today. Yeah. Okay. No sales pitch, please. Okay. No sales pitching. Okay. Don't say that. So no, I got something to offer. I mean that all right. All I'm saying here is you're right. You know, in the sense that you want to be able to help them, but don't put it in such a way that if you want to know this opportunity, please connect up with me. No, that's too sales pitchy already. Okay. Don't be pushy or insistent. Okay. Don't say that, hey, don't connect up with me, I'm going to come to your house. All right. Don't be pushy or insistent. All right. Okay. So building relationships, a few no-nos there. Okay. So let me very quickly move on because I'm conscious it's already 11 o'clock. Plan of action. So let's talk about this next plan of action. Okay. So on LinkedIn, when you're building relationships, right, there are a few categories of people you can very quickly connect up with. Very quickly. All right, I'm not saying very quickly, but a few categories. So you got people you want to, people in target company or industry, you got friends, people who are in your current role, industry peers, colleagues, and alumni. Can I ask you, type in very quickly into the chat box, which are the two groups of people who are the easiest for you to connect up with? The first, okay, who are the easiest people? Some say alumni, Xuan says alumni. Who else is very easy for you to connect up with? Anybody else? Friends, right? Friends, okay, the TV series Friends, okay? So really, at the end of the day, reach out to people that is easy for you first. So you got friends, colleagues, alumni. Those are the easiest group of people to connect up with online. The next 3, 4, 5, maybe not so easy, maybe not so easy. But again, you need to make an effort, and I'm going to share with you how to do that, all right? So I keep coming back to this particular aspect. Okay, more likely to get referred. Okay, which means what? Some of you may be thinking, wow, my network so limited. All the people I know, that can't really help me with my job or what I want to do. Think about this, because if it's referral, it means what? There are different levels. There are first, second, and third degree contact. Okay, so the power of networking is not in your first degree contact, it's in the people that they know, the people that your contacts know. So it's a second degree and third degree. That is the power of networking. And most opportunities, it's been shown by research, most opportunities actually come from the second and third degree. It doesn't come from the first degree. Okay, so bear this in mind. So even those of you who have got limited, right, bear in mind that they may know someone who may be able to help you. Right? And then how do you reach out to those people? Right? So essentially, you're looking at seeking something in common with them. Seeking something in common with them. So you could write something like this. Okay, hey Dan, I found your profile through our mutual connection, Rob. I'm currently exploring career paths in technology industry and admire your experience. I would love to join your network. Okay, so some personal information, but emphasizing something in common, whether it's through a mutual connection or whether it's through same industry or same event or whatever. Okay, and how do you do this? Basically, you go into, again, there's a filter in LinkedIn where you can do a search based on second degree, third degree, locations, companies, and all that. So you can search in terms of name, company, location, keyword. All right, so that's LinkedIn searching. But then you think about it now. Okay, so that's how to search, but then who do I search for? Who do I search for? So this is where this notion of building a network plan comes into play. Okay, so I'm going to show you a few steps. Right, this is an overall network building plan. Okay, how you go about identifying the companies and the people that you want to, and even how you contact them. Okay, so the first one, goals. I think you already did the exercise. What is your goal? Why you want to? What's your personal branding statement goal? So you can actually use that same goal in this particular area. Okay, so type in your goal. Who are your first level contacts? Who do you know directly that can help you reach your goal? So it's your first level contacts. Okay, so that's under your current resources. Who would you like to meet? So you look through your second and third level contacts. So these become, so who in your first level can help you reach out to the second and third level? That becomes your wish list. Membership affiliation, there's that blue column here. Okay, so you join alumni, professional organizations. And if you're an accountant, you join an accountancy association. Any events or conferences that is common in the target group that you want to go for, online groups or forums. So join those affiliations. Okay, this one we talked about earlier this morning, how you identify what you can offer, how you can help them, and then put this in the LinkedIn profile, update it in the LinkedIn profile. Okay, then you practice. You practice what do you say when you meet up with them, or what do you write when you meet up with them. So it's about a personal pitch, you know, whether you keep it as a conversation, but you also practice about your listening skills. For those of you who are yakety all the time, you have to hold back and listen to practice your listening skills. Right. So I'm going to show you a very short video on personal pitching. Right. Although this is not a personal pitching class, but just a very short one. All right, to give you an idea of what you can do. Okay.
In today's episode, I'm going to help you describe what it is that you do in 60 seconds or less so that people instantly see the value of it. Hi there, my name's Max Simon, the founder of Big Vision Business, and welcome to the show. I'm so glad you're here. Now, people always ask me, how do I describe what I do so that people see the value of it? I've watched people struggle for like decades trying to figure this out. You just make it way more complicated than it needs to be. So today I'll break down that's right, only 3 simple steps to help you nail it once and for all. Step number 1, forget about trying to describe everything that you ever do in one sentence. That's right, forget it. Like, it's kind of ridiculous, right, to think that you can take everything you do, the immensity of it, and distill it down into one sentence. It's not what I do. Instead, we'll move on to steps 2 and 3. The second thing you do is to get into mind one particular client that you just loved working with. They were easy, you got great results, it was enjoyable, they paid you well. One person. What were the specific issues that this person came to you for? What were their challenges, their problems, their stuck points? What was going on with them that brought them into your life? Once you have that clarity, the third step is simply to articulate the transformation you helped this person provide. So for example, let's say somebody came to you with migraine headaches, and in 30 days you got rid of those headaches for them totally naturally. Well, you might say to someone who has headaches, I can help you relieve your migraine headaches in 30 days or less. All natural approaches. Sounds pretty simple and kind of sexy, doesn't it? So all you need to do is articulate the specific transformation you provide based upon a specific group of people dealing with certain issues. Once you have those, you just segment them by your different offers, meaning if you're speaking to one group of people, it's okay for you to have a different sentence. If you're speaking to another group of people, it's okay to have a different sentence. It's all right for you to have lots of things that you articulate that you can customize based upon who's in front of you and who's showing up, right? Gives a lot of relief to this whole I have to have one little sentence to describe everything that I do. So now it's your turn.
All right, now it's your turn. Okay, I'll give you an example. All right, so really, at the end of the day, personal pitching, creating a sentence shouldn't be that difficult. Even for some of you who say, wow, how will I squeeze in? Because at the end of the day, you don't want to squeeze everything into one sentence. Many of you say, how do I say in 30 seconds? Actually, to be honest, all you need to do is focus on something that kickstarts a conversation between you and the other party. Okay, so it doesn't have to be a 30-second or 60-second or whatever. It is just something to get them thinking, wow, this person is very interesting. I want to talk to that person even more. Okay, so example here. Okay, so you're talking about skills and what you do well. Okay, what you do well. Okay, so my own personal example. I'm Ewan, I'm a career coach and trainer, and I help people find the best career versions of themselves. Right, so this is my opener in certain audiences. Right, so how do you help? So a lot of time when I say what I do, a lot of people ask me, oh, then what do you do? What do you help? Then I elaborate further. Yeah. So I say most people look for me when they're feeling stuck in their jobs or want something different in their careers. Does this sound familiar or not? I opened this up right earlier on today. I help them through many group workshops or individual coaching sessions. And recently I've just launched some e-courses for those who are more DIY inclined. Okay, so how you help? Then, what motivates you? What inspires you? Okay, you can add this in if the conversation goes to that stage. So I love working with people who are committed to improving their career lives. I'm also excited when I help others do the same thing I do. I train others to become career coaches. So since 2016, I've helped almost 600 people become certified career coaches or advisors. All right. And what is the goal? What I like to do now? So again, the conversation goes down. No. Okay, so this is the things that you do. What you're hoping to do in the future? What opportunities you're looking for? Okay, so I'm constantly open to partnering with organizations to help their members with greater career fulfillment through group coaching or workshops. I'll be expanding my e-learning courses to help others more, and I also regularly conduct courses to certify new career coaches. All right. So essentially, the idea here is that you treat this pitch not as a one sentence or not as a 30 seconds or whatever, is starting a conversation with the other party. Okay, so those of you who want to take a picture, by all means, take a screenshot of this before I very quickly go on to the final step for this network building plan. Okay, so let me just go to this. Okay, so screenshot done. Okay, good. Now, the last part, you connect up with people. So informational interviews, I'm going to talk very quickly about this after this, but essentially it's about going out and meeting people, referrals, but at the end of the day, make sure you give before you take. So you want to value add. Right? You follow up, you reconnect, or you sort of develop the relationship even further. So it's not a one contact pot. Basically, you have to take effort to develop the relationship even further. So that is the key thing here. So hopefully you'll get that in mind, because once you connect up with someone, it is not about saying, oh, that's it. At the end of the day, he's on my network list and therefore no need to do anything else. No, you have to put an effort to build it. Okay. So this is the screenshot. If you want, you can take a screenshot of this. Okay. Are we okay? Done the screenshot? All right. All right, so I'm going to talk about informational interviews. I'm going to show you a very quick video on this, which basically talks about information interviews. And then if you have any comments, type into the chat box as you see the interviews. All right, so let's do this now.
Venn diagram.
An informational interview is an amazingly powerful tool. It can help you learn about different types of work you're interested in. And by providing inside perspective, it may even connect you to opportunities you couldn't see from the outside. So let's take a look at what informational interviewing is all about. An informational interview is not a job interview, and it's not a tricky play to get a job. If you're asking for a job and they do have one, then they'll likely start judging whether you're a good fit. And if they don't have one, then that conversation ends there. The key to a successful informational interview is curiosity. With sincere curiosity and good questions about your interviewee's life and experience, you gain insights into their successes and failures, how they got where they are, and what's important to them. Your curiosity will lead to an authentically engaged conversation, which also opens the door for the interviewee to get curious about you. The professional you're speaking with might say something like, "Wow, you're asking some really good questions." And in that transition, informational interviewing becomes even more valuable for someone looking for work. Informational interviews give you an opportunity to see what kinds of work resonate with you and help you determine what communities you would like to be a part of. In a good informational interview, the professional you speak with gets a lot out of the conversation too. They get to discuss their life and their work with someone who's curious about their experience and values their expertise. Plus, they get the pleasure of talking with someone who's genuinely interested in what they do. How do you do it well? Here are 5 tips to get you started. First, do your homework. Take some time to research LinkedIn or other online platforms to learn about the professional you're interviewing. Consider what questions you have about their life and work. The second tip is to try to meet in person. On the phone is okay, but face-to-face is best. 3, always try to buy the coffee or lunch. Your interviewee is giving you their time. Paying is a good way of showing your appreciation and beginning to create a connection. 4, ask your interviewee who else they recommend you talk with. If the interview has gone well, they may be willing to connect you to other professionals you can learn from and who might have opportunities for you. Finally, tip number 5, after the interview, send a thank you. Email is okay, but a handwritten note is even better. And if they ask you to keep them posted on your progress, do so.
Okay, so hopefully you got something out of that. Information interview is a very useful tool for you to actually go out and reach and meet new people. Okay, this tool can be used to help uncover hidden opportunities as well, which I discussed in last week's workshop. Okay, so let's very quickly go through what informational interview is not. That's usually the fastest way to establish the idea. It is not a job interview. Okay, so you don't go there and ask for a job. Okay, so please don't use that session to talk about yourself. Okay, because you are wanting to ask about the other person, get his insights. So key points here is really to make sure that the other party knows more about you by you asking them questions, and then they in turn will ask you questions as well. So you're getting more information. Find some connections that are common with each other. That increases the chance of them willing to talk to you. So whether it's a referral from someone else, or whether it's you met them, you like their article, you met them through an industry, they are same alumni, or they work in the same company as you previously or whatever. Okay, so find something in common, because that is the strongest way to convince them that, hey, you are interesting to talk to. Okay, so don't ask for a job. I mentioned this. I want to emphasize this again and again and again. It is not about asking for a job. So you focus on the interviewee. You ask them questions. At the end of the day, you want to build a relationship. You want to get them to trust you. And in order to do all this, you really must be prepared. So you cannot wing it. Please don't, those of you super confident amongst you, please don't say, oh, I'm so confident, don't worry, I'll just wing it. No, you have to prepare, which I'll talk about a little bit later on. Okay, so this is basically a sample that some people use to actually reach out to somebody to ask for an informational interview, right? So it basically says, I'm currently exploring careers in communications and admire your experience and accomplishments in the industry. Appreciate the opportunity to hear about your career journey. Would you be available for a 20-minute chat? In the next few weeks. Look forward to hearing from you. So what she's doing here is someone who she's trying to reach out to someone, even though she says she wants to connect. She wants to know more about the industry and that person. Now, it will be so much stronger, right, if she was saying that, we were from the same company or from the same school, or someone referred me to you, can put that in as well. So that becomes a much stronger carrot for that person to see you. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that whoever you reach out to is going to be 100% will agree to see you, all right? But if you put it right and you have a strong connection, chances are good that they will see you. But again, don't be pushy. Huh? Preparations, I'm not going to go into detail about this. You can take a screenshot if you like. But at the end of the day, you need to know what your strengths are, what you want to do. Okay. Understand how this interview can help you, this information interview can help you. Find something in common, research on that person, and then prepare some questions, the relevant questions to ask that person. Okay. So, how are we for this so far? It's 11:20. I've just only got a few more slides, and then I can summarize everything already. All right. Okay. So, again, if you've got any questions, by all means, type it in. Huh? All right. So overview of how you add value and engage with your network. Okay, it's about investing time to develop the relationship. Right. So it's not a one-off thing. You have to put in time and effort. Okay. You have to. I mean, one thing is really share information that your people, your connections would like. Okay. Join groups and exchange insights about what you are doing, and then give testimonies and recommendations to others. So really add value to your network itself. Okay. Screenshot time if you want to take a picture of this. All right. Okay, so we spent the last maybe 20, 25 minutes or so trying to talk about how we best attract opportunities and really going into detail about how you identify who can help you and what you can say. Okay, so let's go on to the last portion itself, unless you've got any questions about practicing the best techniques to continuously develop your brand. Okay, so other questions? Okay, if not, then I go on to the last part, is how you manage and further push your personal brand. Further push your personal brand. Sorry, LK, if I'm going too fast. Okay, I guess I'm trying to slow things down, but at the same time, I'm conscious that lunchtime is coming up. So, like I said, there's a lot of stuff here that I want to go through with you guys. Okay, hopefully everybody else is able to sustain the interest. I'm not too fast for everybody else. Okay, let's do the managing part. Okay, remember what I said, you have to be intentional. You cannot leave it to chance whenever you try and push yourself out there. That's the whole idea of this section. So you really need to manage two components. One is perception, the other one is credibility. How others perceive you and whether people believe you or not. Okay, so let's start with the first one. What information you share out there? What information you share out there? So I shared this slide earlier on. So it's about whether you're writing articles, those of you who want to write articles, by all means do so, or you just want to share content about articles that you've seen elsewhere. Okay, so there's a little, I won't say a rule, but there's a little technique or framework that you can use, a 5-3-2 technique, to help you have an idea of how much information you can share, So maybe curate 50% relevant articles from other people. Okay, so if you're reading around and you come across an article that's relevant, that's in your area, pull that and share this article with other people, and then put in your comments. Okay, you can post your own content, whether it's an article itself or whether it's really about putting your thoughts about what you did on the day. Okay, but again, make it relevant to your area of expertise. Right? 20% post who you are. So giving your thoughts and emotion, about what's happening in the world today. All right. So for example, I recently that guy who was shown on TV during National Day crying, I saw a lot of people pitching in their comments about how good and how emotions help you and all that. All right. So if you are into that area, you can put that in as well. Okay. So this is sharing information. Okay. Another way to do this is really to update stuff that you are doing in the process, what you're doing today in your current job or activities at work or things that you've seen at the workplace and all that. So this has to be relevant, timely, and then make sure you just share. And then at the same time, give your thoughts on this. Okay. So again, if you want to share about what you have gone through during this LinkedIn workshop, by all means do so. Okay. But this is just another example of what you can do in order to tell people who you are and what you're all about. All right. Now, the quality of your network, some people look at it as well. Okay, so if you want to be known for someone who mixes with the right crowd or mixes with the crowd that's in your target area, then you have to be very focused on who you connect up with. All right, so this is so important. So make sure that at the end of the day, you are more selective about who you connect up with, if that is your objective, if that is your goal of wanting to work in that particular industry or role. Okay, so very quickly, I did that last part, very quickly, talking about best practices, best techniques to continuously develop your brand. Right? It's very, very simple to communicate in slides, but it takes effort to do. So I'm not trying to belittle it by going through it very quickly, because the concept is very simple, but actually the effort is something that you have to put in. And honestly, you have to be very conscious about going in and doing this regularly. Okay, so hopefully you get that message. All right. So before I summarize everything, anybody got any questions about the last part in terms of managing your personal brand? Welcome back, Celia. I hope everything went well. Okay, if not, then let me summarize this. Okay, summarize this first. Okay. So why is personal branding for you important for you as a job seeker? Essentially, if you're looking at changing careers, if you're looking at finding opportunities that are not advertised, that's hidden, then this is something you really need to be in line, need to be cognizant of, and you really need to do conscientiously. Okay, so when you are looking at personal branding as a job seeker, your main focus here is to attract opportunities. Right, so that's the thing here. It is not to get a job. Your main focus is not to get a job, but to attract opportunities. All right. The interview stage is the purpose of the interview is to get a job. All right. But the personal branding is to attract opportunities. So remember this. So we spent the last couple of hours talking about these three categories. Right. Under the define part, we looked at what stage the personal branding is in the job search process. We talked about how you define your goal. We talked about how you define your position. Okay, about how you help people. Under communication, we basically focus on how you tell people who you are and how you build relationships, the network map and such. Okay, the network building plan. Okay. Then the last part, when you manage and build and develop your brand further, you focus on managing your perception of how other people perceive you and whether people believe you, your credibility. Okay, so those are the few things. And hopefully at the end of today, you would have gotten these three key learning points, these three takeaways, right? But if not, what I really want you all to believe as a fundamental approach to your job search or even to your own career is basically remember that you want to be an asset. You don't want to be a risk. Okay, so the best way to become an asset is to communicate to people, tell them how you can help them. You are a problem solver, how you solve their problem. Okay, so this applies to anyone who's very mindful of developing a career further. Okay, now on the topic of personal branding, I get this a lot. Do I have to be so false and pretentious when I do a personal brand? No, at the end of the day, you want to be yourself. Okay, be yourself. Don't be so different. Don't try and develop a brand that is so different from who you are. Okay, it has to have a strong foundation to be yourself. Okay, at the end of the day, people will forget what you say, but people remember how you make them feel. Okay, so it's the feeling part. When you leave, when you connect with people, how do people feel about connecting up with you? Can I ask for you to fill up this survey for me. Okay, just take a few minutes to fill up this survey. You can scan the code in, or let me just type it into the chat box for you. See that on the 28th on September, there is another session on coping with change as well. All right. So until I come back to the last session, and then we talk about what missing screenshots everybody has, I'll see you in about 5 minutes. Okay.
A few moments later.
Okay, so this last portion essentially is about how we can continue the discussion. Those of you who've been to my previous workshop will know this, but those of you who are new to me, this is something I can share with you, right? Because at the end of the day, many people after the workshop keeps coming back to me and saying, you know, I want to ask you this, ask you that, or blah blah. And honestly, you know, I regret that I cannot come back to you in a timely manner because there's so many things to attend to. Request to handle. So I'm going to give you some options that you can have in order for us to continue working together. Okay. So firstly, you all know my LinkedIn profile. You can see there, very easy to do. Okay. So as far as the other things are concerned, like I have this Facebook group where you all can actually follow the discussions I have for my Facebook group. Okay. So it's called LifeWork Consult. So you can just type into Facebook on the LifeWork Consult. So maybe I will just share that Facebook group with you so that you all can do this. Okay. Let me just put it into the chat box. Okay, so that is the Facebook group that you all can go in and join. Basically, apart from LinkedIn, in that Facebook group, I also share sometimes job opportunities, sometimes tips and tricks on anything that's career related. Okay, now coming back to how you can get a video or recording of today's session. Essentially, I need to have your permission to send you the video, right? Which means I need you to fill up a simple form. Now, this form, apart from giving me your email to send you the video link, is also to give me an idea of what you want, what other topics you want to have from me. Okay, so but always remember, because some of you never take this, when you fill up the form, if you want me to send to you the video, you need to click on this tick here so that I can add you to the mailing list. You can unsubscribe anytime you like. Okay, but once you are into my mailing list, I have your permission to send the video to you. So let me copy that link in so that you can have that opportunity to do that. Okay, so again, the link to this form is in the chat box as well now. Okay, by the way, those of you know, you can actually save the chat discussion at the end of today. Okay, so when you leave the discussion, this workshop, you can actually save the chat box as well. So the chat discussion, so you can save the trouble if you want to. All right, so this, for those of you who want the video, this is an important activity to do. Those of you who have already signed up for my mailing list, I think about almost 200 plus people who are on my mailing list for my workshops, you don't have to do it again. Okay, now those of you who may be interested, because I had some questions on career switching there just now. All right, so those of you who are interested in knowing more about career switching, I've done workshops on this, but at the same time, because of the demand, I basically created an e-course as well. So this e-course, basically, you see the chapters there. All right, you by all means, if you want, you can sign up for it. Okay, there is a 30-day money-back guarantee, and now I've opened up some previews of certain chapters that you can see. All right, just to give you a flavor of this. So let me open up that link to you as well, so that you all can get hold of this. All right, so the link to this offer is in the chat box as well. So again, no obligation, it's up to you. So far, I think, if I'm not mistaken, as of last week, I had about 100 plus people. Quite a few are from this workshop. So participants in my workshop actually get a preferential pricing for this. So remember, this is an e-learning course. So you do it at your own pace, right? It is not a coaching session, it's an e-learning course. Because honestly, the coaching session is, for me, is actually a lot more, it costs a lot more than just the price that you see there. Okay, now there are other people, and again, I get this a lot after every session, is that they ask me, how can I become a career coach? So if you are interested in becoming a career coach and you want to get an internationally recognized coaching certification, all right? There are only 7 people in Singapore that conducts this. I mean, 7 people qualified to conduct this, and I think I'm probably one of the handful, less than 3 or 4 that are actually actively doing it. I'm not sure. Okay, so if you want to get more information about this, you can go to my website. Again, let me just go to the website and open up this for you so that you can take a look at this. All right, again, it's up to you. All right, so because I keep getting a lot of requests about this. So the next link in the chat box you see is a link to here. Okay, it's about information on this course. I'm the only one that does this either one-on-one or in a group of 6. No, everybody else does it in class of 15 or 20. Right, so my focus is more on you rather than as a big class. Okay, so if you want, you can take a look at this. You can email me yw@lifeworkconsulting.com if you want to get more information. All right, so that's the next one. Again, this is not for everyone. This is basically for people who feel that they've got experience they want to share with other people, and you can do this by being a qualified coach. Right? In fact, currently now I'm in the midst of a class with a small class. All right, next, coaching packages. Again, something which I keep getting requests for, and so instead of me repeating myself every time a request comes in, I'm going to share it amongst all of you. Okay, so typically I don't do individual coaching sessions. I do it as a package because then that sort of is beneficial for both parties. Okay, because then I ensure that you get the right stuff. Because if you just hire me for one session, it doesn't get the message across. Okay, so essentially I've got 3 packages. One is about how you navigate the hidden job market. Okay, the other one is how you make a career switch. Okay, and for those of you who already know what you want to do, right? Basically, the last one is really about individual components. So it's about how you outreach, how you tidy up your resume, how you customize your LinkedIn profile, your cover letter, all those things. Okay, all right. So Lacey, in your coach training, do you teach how to conduct effective Zoom training? I'm afraid I don't do that because I think a lot of people can do it better than me. But what you see in front of you today's session was really a trial and error, which I learned myself. But I'll take Lacey's comment as a compliment to today's session now. So let me copy and paste the coaching HTML URL for you. So if you want, you can take a look at that. Okay. All right. So the coaching link is in the chat box. Okay. So those of you who are workshop participants, typically I will give a special rate to the participants who come to my workshops before. Okay. So I'm not going to tell you what those rates are here publicly on this video because this is going to be made public soon. So I don't want to sort of publicize that. All right. Okay. Everybody else is okay? It is now 11:58, 12 o'clock, lunchtime. I hope you all got got something out of today's session. And I enjoyed our interaction together, on the chat box or even during the voices that I heard just now. It's really nice to put a voice to the names that I see. Okay, so again, this notion of personal branding is really part of the bigger picture, right? Because you have to understand personal branding, what are you trying to achieve? Okay, whether it's going to career change, whether it's going for hidden job opportunities, whatever, right? All of these things are linked together. So, this is a technique that will help you achieve those aims. Okay. Again, those of you who have got anything that you want to continue a discussion with, I've shared with you a series of alternative ways for you to get in touch with me or connect up with me or work with me. So feel free to choose any of those options. Okay. I'm always happy. I try to help as much as I can. All right. Okay. Thank you all for your comments in the chat box as well. I think it's your comments, your feedback that gives me the motivation to keep doing things like this. So, hopefully I played a small part in some way to helping you move ahead in your journey. Okay. All right. If there's nothing else, okay, so wish you all good luck, and take care, be safe, even though everybody's saying, oh, COVID is no more, but I think it's still there, so be safe, okay? Take precautions, but still enjoy yourself and do what motivates you, what you desire, okay?